Welcome to the Jobs Blow podcast with Brianna and Josh.
The podcast for dreamers with day jobs.
We are so glad to be back once again at Comic Strip Live Studios for yet another episode. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share this episode when you're done listening, because the way the word gets out about us is that you talk about us. Exactly. So please give us a review on iTunes, Stitcher, Google, Spotify, wherever you're listening. Please, reviews are so important because it helps us get greater visibility on the directories, and it just helps us get the word out to the masses.
Yes, and remember, while this podcast was born out of the frustrations of working a day job, we're here to provide some inspiration in your pursuit of a dream job as we pursue ours.
That's awesome. Hi, Josh.
Hi, Brianna.
How you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good. Tell me about your week. What's going on?
Well, I did not get the nonprofit job. Yeah, well, you know,
Sorry.
some things aren't meant to be.
I apologize.
That's all right. This show keeps me going, though.
Yeah.
Being creative, and we've got an amazing guest today.
We do.
We do. So
I'm excited.
I'm going to keep it short because I'd rather spend time talking to him about his amazing life as opposed to
right, like nothing in my
life.
Right, is that exciting for me to report on. I'm still 5'3", if anybody's interested. But yes.
Are you only 5'3"?
No, don't. It's so funny when that comes into play. Like if I'm on an audition where they need me to be short, I'm like, yeah, I'm 5'3", and then every other time I'm like, I'm a tall 5'4". Well, we do have a very exciting guest today. I mean, I assume all guests should be exciting, or otherwise that would be quite weird. Today we have a boring guest.
All right,
No.
but he's one of your friends?
He's a friend. Can I call you a friend?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We're family, man.
Oh, we're family even more
Wow,
so.
you got
I
a family.
appreciate it.
I had a whole joke where I was going to say you were nodding violently. No, but wow, there's a lot of love in this
I'm in the
room.
fam, and I'll just give him the straight introduction. He is part of the groundbreaking, Grammy Award-winning rap group from the 90s, arguably the most popular, famous group from the 90s, at least for me. I mean, I played all your music in my bar mitzvah. I'm just saying.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Vin Rock from Naughty by Nature.
Wow. And you know what? And not only that, like I was saying to Josh, your music is like anthem music.
Yes.
You know? I mean, it's not like, oh, it was one of my favorite songs from. It still pops up in pop culture.
Yes.
You know, it's in arenas during sporting events. I mean, you really first Grammy rap album.
Best rap album.
Best rap album.
For a rap group.
Yeah, for a rap
First
group.
Grammy for a rap group.
That was, what, 96?
Yeah, and we didn't even realize it. It was our guy Vader from the Wonder Twins
Right.
who found or dug up that fun fact.
That's crazy.
That's a huge fact.
Yes.
As a publicist, I'm recommending that fact
Right.
rise to the top for you. That's amazing.
Great.
But
Yeah, I want to talk about too, but I mean, it's just it's an honor. Thank you for coming on the show. We've a friend and family. Vin and I met about 2011.
Yeah.
We had was it that long ago? Wow. I
was that the last time the Giants were good?
Yeah,
yes.
basically.
And they just traded Odell Beckham
To
Jr.
the Browns.
last
But
night.
guess what?
the
Guess who
Browns.
they traded him for?
To the Browns. I'm a Browns
Our
fan.
nephew, though, Jabril Peppers. That's our nephew.
You're like your real family.
His dad ran with our clique from day one, and on 18th Street, KG lived in one house. Jabril Peppers' father lived across the street, and Jabril Peppers' mom lived right next door to K. So they began dating as we were coming up.
Wow.
We've known Jabril Peppers before he was even
Stop.
conceived.
This is in East Orange?
Yeah, in East Orange, New Jersey, North 18th Street.
Oh my God.
So if you
I'm
look up ESPN, there's a journalist who did when Jabril was at Michigan, he did an interview about our relationship.
That's
Wow.
wild.
See, Naughty by
I didn't even
Nature.
know that.
You guys
Yeah,
pop up
yeah.
in everything.
Everything.
It's you
They're
know
everywhere.
But Josh, why don't you tell the story of how you?
Oh,
met?
well, real quick. So the story was basically I was just sitting around. I'm a big fan of Naughty by Nature music. OPP I grew up with. There was a player on the Giants at the time named Jason Pierre-Paul, JPP. I just was having some fun. I rewrote the lyrics to the song with JPP about him and made a quick video. And next thing you know, it just started going viral. I mean, then you and I got in touch and we were talking about, like, let's just keep, going with this and playing with it. And
But how did you get in touch? Like, you just make it sound like you
can
just
I tell a
called them.
funny story?
Go ahead.
All right, so basically, I emailed through the website to Naughty by Nature right before I did the video, and I was like, I was like, hey guys, my name's Josh. I took one of your songs, I flipped it. I'm gonna make a video. Any chance you guys want to be involved? And like, I didn't hear anything back, right? So then like 4 days later, I posted it online. It starts getting all these hits, and I get this phone call, right? I'm like, what is hello? And it's Vin Rock on the other line, and he goes, the first thing is he's like, so I don't know if you remember this. You were like, oh, so you work with the Giants? And I was like, no, I don't work with the Giants. And you were like, oh, I thought you worked with the Giants. He goes, why didn't you tell us you were gonna make this video? And I was like, do you check your email? And he was like, no, I didn't see it. I was like, there it was. So, but it was cool because we just kind of kept pushing it. And you gave me this phrase that I still love to this day. Teamwork makes the dream work. And we just were working together. And let's be honest, if the Giants didn't keep winning and eventually win the Super Bowl, it probably would not have.
All the stars aligned. But
didn't
you perform it at Giants? Didn't you do some performance together or something?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Vinny came to my Super Bowl party, and they're playing and they're winning. And right before the end of the game, where it like looked like the Giants were going to win, Vin looks at me and he goes, "Listen, I want to tell you something. I spoke to the Giants this week, and they said if they win, we're doing their Super Bowl celebration party at the stadium. And I told them that we're bringing you with us, and they said okay." And I went, "What?" And then he took a whole pitcher of beer and poured it over
Oh my
head.
God, that is amazing.
When they won. Yeah.
Wait, was that the great game where what's his name caught it on his head, or was this was the year after? This was the
I'm not
next
sure.
time.
No, that was 2008. 2012 was the other catch, but ultimately beating the Patriots again.
Okay.
Anyway, so we did that, and we stayed in touch ever
And
since.
people can still find this online.
You down with Jake?
I actually looked it up yesterday because
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not sure if I'm able to say, but I'm going to say anyway.
Okay.
Because now we have a similar program, but even larger with Major League Baseball. So we're planning a campaign down with MLB, Major League Baseball, and we're going to flip OPP, and then we're doing an apparel collaboration with Major League Baseball. So every team by nature.
I
Here,
love
pull
that.
it up real quick.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And
You down
I
with
also
MLB?
just want to call out the name of this episode is "It Pays to Be Naughty."
I love that.
Ooh.
Yes.
You're very good with those.
And believe me, we wrestled with a number of different ideas, different plays on OPP, Hip Hop Hooray.
No, that was the best one. Oh, you see, that's so rad. He's showing me a picture right now of the
I
baseball
love it.
MLB teams with the By Nature logo.
Yeah.
That's going to just take off, my man.
Yep.
Well,
Awesome. Congrats.
Yes.
Thanks.
Yeah, so then that's it. I mean, I saw you a couple times over the years. I was in Chicago once. I saw you guys perform live. That was great. So anyway, that's why we're here. We're all talking about
Well,
this
thank
crazy
you
adventure.
for doing this
right.
for us. I mean, we really appreciate it.
No
So
problem.
let's start with our typical question we ask, right? Give us a job or moment at a job in your career that blew.
Well, I've always done maintenance jobs, you know. I started my job career summer youth program. So I worked at the field house, and the guys did maintenance. After that, I worked at Burger King. But the job that sucked is like after I finished my 3-year Burger King stint, I didn't want to work in food. And I went on a job interview. I didn't really know what the job entailed, but it was in the dietary department. So I remember going to this spot, and I'm looking around, and I see kitchen and food, and I was like, I don't want this job. And the guy was like, well, we don't want you here. Goodbye. And he was very abrupt and abrasive and just walked away. I was like, well.
That's it.
But that was the suckiest job I'd never had.
That you never had. I love that.
It was the quickest job you never had.
That's
awesome.
not the first time that we've had someone tell us that their worst job ended like the same day that it started.
Right.
Well, that's probably makes total sense, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're at a job that sucks for more than a day, you should probably be out.
However, you know, I've always liked maintenance jobs because you get to work at your own pace, especially at Burger King, right? That was one of my best jobs or favorite jobs because my sister was the manager.
Wow, little
you know?
nepotism.
And then I was the maintenance guy, so you get to work at your own pace. So I would have to clean the dining room, go outside, police the parking lot, and then I was responsible for all the supplies. So when the trucks came in, all of the burger meat and the buns and the soda, everything. So I controlled the back end and the perimeter. And it was really empowering because you're like, hey, without me, this place would be a crap hole, you know?
And was it a hangout? Was Burger King a hangout for teens?
Well, yeah, in Cedar Grove, New Jersey, yes, it was. But again, I was on the back end of it, and it was a fun job. And I remember one of my great moments working Burger King was I would have to come in early in the morning and clean the parking lot. So, of course, tons of kids on the weekends would hang out in the parking lot. But this next morning when I went to clean, I found a money clip with $55 in it.
Yeah.
That's a nice win.
Yeah. So
the world was tipping you.
yeah, and I'm sure it was an adult's money clip,
Sure.
so I didn't feel bad about, some kid lost their money.
Right.
And we didn't have a lost and found, so I charged it to the gang.
So you there's something about the methodical kind of jobs, the things that are repetitive with, the stocking and the being in charge of the system that appeal to you?
Yes, it really did. And, we were street kids too, so my part-time job was basically illegal, but we always moved at our own pace,
right.
And that job did the same. I remember telling my sister, and even when she wasn't my manager, I remember telling the managers, I'll do any job in here but work the register. Because the register, you always have to be on call, you have to deal with these people
Yeah.
and
Sure.
these
Customer
hostile
service,
attitudes
yeah.
when the food isn't right, so I never had to deal with that.
Well, I love that you balanced your illegal job with a regular job.
Yeah, 1 foot in, 1 foot out with an exit strategy, for both.
So at the time, what was your dream job?
At the time, my dream job has always been hip-hop. And being an entertainer. Yeah, I remember being inspired by hip-hop at 10, 11 years old. And I initially used to break dance. I used to be a b-boy. Then I was beatboxing. And actually, when I used to break dance, I was in Jabril Pepper's father's crew. So Jabril Pepper's father, he was my breakdancing mentor, and we had 2 other guys. We used to go around and breakdance. Wow. So I remember breakdancing with Ski. And then right across the street, KG used to DJ in his sun porch. So after breakdancing, I would go over to KG, and while he scratched, I would beatbox. Then in high school, my health class, Tretch was in my health class, every other day he would come with a new rhyme while I beatbox. So I used to tell Kay, man, this guy in my health class always comes with a new rhyme. And he was like, bring him around. So I brought him around, and that was the beginning of our first group.
Amazing.
And what was the first group called?
And the first group was called The New Style.
Okay.
And we named that after the Beastie Boys song, It's the New Style.
So let me ask you, the Beastie Boys, what was it like for you guys? Because the Beastie Boys were the first white boys that really came
blew
out.
up.
Yeah. So do you remember what
Response,
you thought when you saw these?
Well, we liked them because, for one, they came with a built-in cool factor because they came through Def Jam and Russell Simmons and all those guys and Run DMC. They were so hot back then that it was almost seamless. It wasn't a big thing that they were white. It was a thing that they were white, but it wasn't a big thing. And hip-hop was more fun and creative and diverse back then. So they were just guys added to the party or added to the rainbow of hip-hop.
Weren't they also kind of poking fun at themselves at first? It was
They were, and they were like frat boys.
Right.
So they had a lot of fun, and they were wild kind of party guys, So,
but they were creating great music and rhymes and
right, and they really had skills though.
Right.
They really had dope rhyme skills. So that's what I'm saying. It wasn't a big thing. These were like creative guys who just added to the party.
So at the time, you're messing around with KG, Tretch is coming over. Is this idea formulating, for the 3 of you, or is it just fun at the moment? Like how did that progression, happen at that time?
Yeah, well, it started as fun because back then this was like 84, 85.
Right.
Everyone was into hip-hop and you were just doing it for the love. And there weren't these big contracts and all this big money out there back then. So we definitely did it for fun. As well, we were inspired by the likes of Run DMC, Houdini, Beastie Boys, the Fat Boys, all of these guys. So when we first got together, we found the rhythm, and then KG was a year older than Tretch and I. So he was a senior in high school in 87, and Tretch and I were juniors. in '87. So K was like, before he graduated, his class had a senior talent show. So K was like, I want to do the talent show. So we were like, all right, well, let's do it. We didn't even have a name for the group. We just used to run routines and, rap. So
was it your original rhymes at the time?
Yeah, it was our original rhymes. And I remember when we participated in the talent show, we didn't even have a name for our group. But we just went up there, and our routine started with the Beastie Boys record. It's the new style. And then we started performing, and it went over so well. And after that, everyone's like, oh, wow, that was kind of cool. Then we were like, hey, we may have something, but what do we call ourselves? Right. Then we were like, the new style.
There it is.
And we ran with the new style from there.
So what how does, right? So high school, everyone has big aspirations. They leave high school, and you have this great show, but what happens? What's the progression to starting to make a record or get where you performing?
Right. So, that was at the high school. And then after that, we were like, okay, what a new style. But back then, we had venues. So there was a guy, Tony, who used to do the Tough Teen Talent Competition at Club 88. So after the talent show, we were like, bet. We're going to go and try out and see if we really have something. So back then at Tough Teen Talent Competition, all the kids from the county of Essex County in Jersey, they would come from all different schools and everyone would participate and the crowd judged. So we always had a lot of hometown support. Sure. And every time we performed, we would win the crowd over. So much so, the rest of the acts began saying, oh, they come too deep and everyone's rooting for them. So they changed the rules and had guest judges. So they would take, older people from the neighborhood and have them judge. Every week we would still win. So we were like, wow, we have something here. Then, of course, we were inspired by Heavy D, and we started looking on the back of these records and seeing which recording studios people were working out of. So we started working in local Jersey studios, but then we were like, we need to work in New York studios where KRS-One and Queen Latifah and them record at. So we started going abroad and started professionally recording. So it was amateur, but professional.
But at professional studios.
Yeah.
But you literally, am I understanding right? You just basically at the time knocked on doors and just were or phone calls, hey, can we record here?
Yeah, we would do that. We would look on the back of the cassettes and the album covers and see where they recorded. And in Astoria, Queens, there was a famous studio called Power Play. So Heavy D, KRS-One, all of those people recorded there. So we called them up and was like, hey, we want to come work. And we started working and recorded our first demo.
Isn't it funny? Now it's like, get on The Voice, go on American Idol. Right. Do local are there these local talent things anymore?
Not as many.
No.
Not as many.
And no one has cassettes or CDs.
Right.
it's such a different landscape
landscape. And the kids can record right at home now in their bedroom.
True. Yeah. Well, now everybody is everybody thinks that they're talented, and you really had to pound the pavement, and you were dedicated. Obviously,
there weren't a lot of opportunities. Everyone like me thinks that they can rap.
Well, it's a big genre now.
Wait, so when did you become Naughty by Nature?
So.
Well, so before, just real quick, you released an album as the new style?
What happened was we went from the high school talent show to the local teen talent shows. Then there was a guy, Mike C, around our way. He was like, I have a relationship with Sugar Hill Records, Sylvia Rome and Jerome and Sylvia Robinson and Joey Robinson up in Englewood, New Jersey. So Sugar Hill Records used to be one of the biggest record labels in hip-hop, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, Sugar Hill Gang, all of them. So he introduced us to Joey and Sylvia Robinson, and we was around 17 at the time. And we played our demo for Sylvia. She signed us to the label. At the time, they had switched from Sugar Hill to Bon Ami Records because, unfortunately, they never paid anyone at Sugar Hill Records. Lawsuits were flying everywhere. And by the time they settled, They had to settle with their artists, but kind of change the name of Sugar Hill Records to Bon Ami, which is good friend, but the practices were still the same.
Right.
But in a nutshell, we signed with Sugar Hill Records under Bon Ami Records, and our first album and single was The New Style. So we didn't care. We were like, hey, it's a Hail Mary. We know they're known for robbing people or not doing good business, but this will be our start. So we signed to them. They did release an album on us called Independent Leaders, and our single was called Scuffing Those Knees. Yeah. And it was a shelf sitter. So it never made any noise whatsoever. However, we were local around the way, and Queen Latifah was from our way, from our hometown. Right. And we all went to the same high school. She did a year or two at East Orange High School with us. Then she went over to Irvington High School, where her mother, Rita Owens, rest in peace, Mama Rita, she taught at Irvington High School. Yeah. So Latifah, the Fugees, all of these guys were like, well, acts were local artists just like us. Mm-hmm. But Queen Latifah was on Tommy Boy Records. She got put on before us. So once we were signed to Sugar Hill Records, we pursued Flavor Unit, Mark the 45 King, Lakim Shabazz, Apache, and Queen Latifah was their female MC. So they were local. They were right there in Irvington and Newark and the East Orange area. So we pursued them, hooked up with Mark the 45 King. We actually invited the entire Flavor Unit to Uppsala College Gymnasium around our way. So this is what we used to do. We had a great following. So when we ran across the Flavor Unit, we were like, listen, we're going to show you better than we could tell you. Be here at this gym. We're throwing our own party, and we'll show you our following. So the entire Flavor Unit came. We threw the party, packed the gym, performed. We used to have our new style jackets, new style T-shirts. We invested in ourselves. And once they saw that, they were like, wow. Then we gave them the demo. They took it home, listened to it, and they were like, hey, you guys have something. Right. So Flavor Unit signed us as their first artist on their management company. So Queen Latifah and Shakim, they formed Flavor Unit Management, signed us in 1990. Then we changed our name to Naughty by Nature.
Wasn't that Queen Latifah's idea, though? Or was she influential in that?
No,
Not really?
Well, they were influential in the fact that they said, listen, you guys have to get away from Sugar Hill, and basically it's going to mean changing your name. And we were like, oh, we're so married to the new style, you know? And
where did Naughty by Nature come from?
So once it came time for us to change our name, we started flipping through old lyrics, the lyric book, and Tretch flipped through his lyric book and was like, Naughty by Nature. I think that's a great name, Naughty by Nature, because everyone is a little naughty. Right. Everyone has a little naughty in their nature.
And it pays to be
naughty.
It pays to be naughty.
And Naughty by Nature was actually a song that we created as the New Style. So when we were the group called the New Style, we had a song called Naughty by Nature. So when it was time to change from the New Style, it was that song title.
It's brilliant. It's like, divine intervention almost.
And what year was that?
That was 1990.
And didn't OPP come out 91?
91.
Okay.
Yeah. So it happened really fast for us.
Yeah, it did.
Really fast for us.
And was that management company better? I mean, you had a better
that
experience.
was Queen Latifah. So she had already jump-started her career. She had her first album going, and she was a part of the Native Tongues. So Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul, Cool DJ, Red Alert, these guys were part of the Native Tongues. So not only was Queen Latifah part of the Flavor Unit in Jersey, she was a part of the Native Tongues in New York.
I'm so back. I'm in my college
so many
dorm
questions
room right now. I'm so in my college dorm room right now. This is like.
Can we go back to? Oh my God, I have so many questions. I have one question in particular. So at the time, it's a two-part question. Are you realizing like this is a thing? This is like really happening for us. You're 19 maybe at the time.
We were 18, 19 at the time.
So like, speak on that. Like as a youngster like that, and that kind of these opportunities are just coming. But also, what I think is really cool about your music in particular, and also a natural fit, is the style that you and Tretch, your rapping styles, are just so cohesive. And I love the additional syllables per beat, the fast rapping. I mean, that to me as a fan, but also someone who likes to do it on the side, that just appeals to me.
Right.
Is that something you crafted? Was that just how you both dove into it?
Yeah, well, that happened in our style of rap and how we became like, or always did the more party songs, It came from those live performances because when we did Tough Teen Talent Competition, we had no records. We weren't even recording in the studio yet. We had no videos. So everything was about, hey, you have to get up here, put together a routine and show what you know. So when we were home, we used to have to put together routines. What's going to get this crowd moving? What's going to get the party rocking?
Right.
And we had to show up and do that. So once we started recording in a recording studio, we basically transferred that element and said, hey, that party element we put or do in the show, we have to put on record. So by the time the record is playing, people know what to do and they know how to party.
And it comes through in the music. It does.
Yeah, OPP, the call and response. You down with OPP? Yeah.
Well, and I was even just looking through IMDb, the number of movies.
Yes.
Your music. I mean, it's embedded in pop culture.
Yes.
It's incredible.
And referenced, constantly. I mean, do they just... You don't have to talk too much on this if you don't want, but did they have to run it by you if they want to
Oh
reference it?
yeah. We were blessed. We had Queen Latifah and Shakim, so our growing pains and learning pains about the industry from the Sugar Hill records to what we did with Flavor Unit and Tommy Boy. We had some of the best deals going, owned our publishing, and
people looking
when
out
we
for
did
you.
co-publishing deals, it was on it was on us, and we got the better of those.
Well, do you remember Behind the
negotiations.
Music that they used to have on? Was it
Yeah,
VH1?
yeah.
Like, I remember watching the New Edition and how badly they were treated and managed. They would take them out on tour and then drop them back off in like the projects.
Right.
And they would have just worked and made all this money, and they had such bad representation.
Right.
So you
got lucky.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
get lucky.
we were blessed. We were blessed that our first record deal wasn't a real record deal, and it was a shelf sitter. And we were blessed in that was just a start. And we were able to get with Queen Latifah and Shakim, and they were about their business and artist empowerment. So
and one thing you still do, I see all the time, you still have those parties. Essentially, that you throw where your fans from over the years come, so they were probably coming back then, and then it morphs into concerts when you're on tour. But you do this party atmosphere all the time. I mean, there's always these shows that they're promoting, and I mean, it just kind of is like it's like duh. Of course, like have a party theme to your music and then put that into the recorded music, and people just feel like they're at a party all the time.
Well, and our thing is, and to speak about, the business part of it and having your own business, I always say your biggest or best market is your own backyard. Your best test market is your own backyard. So for us, East Orange, the city of East Orange, our high school, all of our peers, they were our greatest supporters, So they've been with us ever since the Tough Teen Talent Competition days to the new style to the transition of Naughty. So it's a real community base business we have there, and they are our anchors. So, we're always conscious of it. We've always been conscious of it.
Well, and you all live there. Right?
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's amazing.
And we all live in the same area, right? So we're from East Orange. Of course, KG moved to Roseland, New Jersey.
Sure.
Tretch lives out here on the river, and I moved to West Orange. But 5 years ago, I moved back to my hometown because doing a lot of work with the mayor and the administration there. So,
but it's you're saying is like staying true to your roots. It helps also you testing your stuff out and people to be honest and they love you. I've seen them come out. These people from the neighborhood and you guys are just like engaging with them, which I think is exactly what you're saying.
Well, because you never, a lot of people get big heads and it's like forget where they came from.
Hey, Rockland County, where you at with Josh Hyman?
Hey, I wanted to ask you. So then. And I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but when the whole East Coast, West Coast thing was going on, you didn't get involved in that really, did you? I mean, how were you able to?
We were in the middle in the sense of this. New Jersey, back then, we may as well been from Alabama because hip hop began and was born in New York City. And if you weren't from the 5 boroughs, oh my goodness, you were an outcast. So I remember, the first time as we were pursuing Flavor Unit, we were still the new style, and we did Cool DJ Red Alert's birthday party here in the NYC. So there was the whole Native Tongues, De La Soul, Tribe Called Quest, KRS-One. All these guys were here supporting Cool DJ Red Alert. So KG's brother, who was our manager at the time, had a mutual friend who knew Red Alert, and he got us on the show to open the show. Pardon me. Pardon me. So when we opened the show, I grabbed the mic and said, "Hey, what's up, y'all? Jersey in the house." And we got booed off stage, you know?
Shut up.
And the sad part about it is when we came to the party, the streets were clear. It was a cold winter's night. Once we got booed out the venue, we went outside. It was 3 feet of snow, and that was the longest drive to Jersey ever.
Was that a low point? A personal low?
Well, it wasn't a low point because we knew we had our test market on lock. We knew that we mastered Jersey and we were able to get a following in Jersey. We knew when we came here and just got booed off stage, it was only because we were from Jersey. They were definitely discriminating against us.
So geography kept you out of the East Coast, West Coast.
And they weren't messing with you either. They weren't coming
Well,
after you guys
see,
either.
here's the thing. So when we were alienated, it made us say, you know what, we're going to get them, and we're going to come back, and we're going to regroup or whatever. And at the time, we were the new style, but we were right in the middle of working with Flavor Unit and transitioning. So when we made the transition and came out with OPP, when we went to the West Coast, for one, my guys had braids in their hair, so they looked more West Coast than East Coast. And then when we went out there, again, Queen Latifah was just doing Living Single, the sitcom.
Yeah.
So she had a heavy West Coast presence, and she introduced us to a lot of friends, including Eazy-E and all of these West Coast artists. So when we went out to the West Coast to do promo, a lot of them were like, wait, you're from the East Coast, but you look West Coast. What's your deal? They thought we were from the West Coast.
You were like Switzerland. You should have just been trying to make the peace accord between the two.
Right. So we were like, well, listen, we're from Jersey. We're not from New York. And if you were on the East Coast, we're like, and if you're from the East Coast and you're from Jersey, you may as well be from the West Coast. So we always sympathized with the West Coast and anyone else in the country, because if you came to New York, you weren't down and you couldn't participate. So that's why we always had a lot of friends and a lot of artists like Tupac and Eazy-E and Dr. Dre and those guys, Snoop Dogg, you know. We've always had a great rapport with those guys because we're like, we're in the same boat as you guys. We're fighting for our respect from New York as well.
Not to mention OPP comes out and is a mega hit. Was
monster
it six on the Billboard charts when it came out?
That was a monster hit, and then it woke a lot of people up. It woke a lot of people up, and another factor was that we had all that practice as amateurs, you know, so all of that tough teen talent competition.
I love the tough teen talent competition.
And making up routines on the spot. You know, once we had a hit record and a hit video, when we went out, we used to destroy shows, you know, because we had all that practice.
In a lot of ways, it wasn't. You were busting your ass trying to just get on stage and perform is kind of the lesson there. It's like, just do what you do and do what you love to do, and it'll come. It'll follow. So when you're ready, as you were ready.
That's right. That's what luck is. Preparedness meets opportunity, or vice versa, right?
Right.
But I feel like you weren't just performing, you were engaging.
Yeah.
You know, you were making it, like you said, a party, and people felt like they were a part of what you were doing on stage.
And our hometown is only 4 square miles with 70,000 people there. So we've always had a tight-knit community. We've always had a great support system. So, like, when we come, even till this day, if we come to a New York show, there's literally like 40, 50, 60 people rolling with us still. Till this day.
I've seen it. It's tremendous.
It's Gen X, man. we like to party.
So what was the...
Before 10 o'clock.
What was the... Brianna's always, you got to stop drinking during the day.
I know.
It's starting to become a problem. That's why you're not, no, I'm kidding. Is that why you're not getting the jobs? Right? That you come in with the bottle of wine?
I'm like, wait, you mean I can't come in at 10?
Right.
Wow, okay. Well, I'm up now. I have 2 kids. I'm up at 6 in the morning, and I don't go to bed till, I don't even know now. I'm exhausted. Am I sleeping right now?
This is all a dream.
It's a dream. All right, so what was the rocket ship moment? So OPP comes out. What took you to, like, just outer space?
Yeah. Well, it was OPP, and then we dropped this second single, Everything's Gonna Be All Right. Then the movie Juice came out, and we happened to have this song Uptown Anthem off the Juice soundtrack. So it was like 3 bangers right in a row. And that just took us over the top. You know, that took us over the top, and that was the first album. But what really exploded us was the second album. In 93, our first single was Hip Hop Hooray.
Right.
And it was directed by Spike Lee.
Right, the video, right.
The video
and
was
you had,
directed
you like
by
Run
Spike Lee.
DMC was in it
Run
too,
DMC,
right?
Queen Latifah, Eazy-E.
What is another anthem song? Like, it's just one of those songs that, like, he had it at his bat mitzvah or whatever.
I was bar mitzvahed, all right? The bar is the guys, the bot is the girls.
Shiksa alert. I'm sorry.
Well,
But
that's what I used to say. Like my dad would. When you test music against that generation, you're like, if your dad knows this song, you know that this song is crossing the lines.
yeah, if he's getting down to shout, but also up for hip hop hooray,
Right.
Like,
it's all
just
working.
a sidebar for a sec, but like, it wasn't that I purposely picked OPP to like flip and play with. It just happened to rhyme with JPP's name,
JPP,
but it was
right.
also kind of just by luck the kind of song that everyone knew. You didn't have to just be a hip hop fan. You
Right.
could be a little white Jewish kid from upstate New York, and
Right.
everybody knew it. And that's also like, people come to me now like, why don't you flip this and why don't you flip that? And I'm like, you know what? It doesn't have as wide appeal,
Right,
not every
right,
song.
right.
Sometimes sidebar
You're like
too.
the Weird Al Yankovic.
All right,
Yankovic.
with the
whatever.
yarmulke and the curly cues. Yeah, it's funny too. You say Heavy D as a partial inspiration too, because his style is also quick rapping,
Yes,
like a lot of
yes,
words
yes.
in a row, which I also love. So
Yep.
it's funny that because his music also has, I don't think as much as you, but it does have a crossover with not necessarily hip hop community. Like Now That We Found Love, like. Psh, that everyone knew that
right.
song. Who didn't know that song?
Right.
So I think we should probably jump to kind of like where rap is today, because we're running out of time.
Well, wait. Just let's bridge it. So Hip Hop Hooray comes out. You win the best rap album Grammy.
No, that was the third album.
Oh, that was the third album.
But OPP in the first album, we won the American Music Award for Best Rap Group. Yeah. So
So
that's
it started,
when we
but
knew
that was
we
the big
were
one.
on our way.
So
Yep.
at that point, you're like, all right, this is our career.
We're going.
I'm in my dream job.
Yeah,
I'm living it.
we're
All right.
going.
And then give me the Grammy story. So which album won the Grammy? and
So
what
then
was in
our
that?
third album was Poverty's Paradise.
Right.
Song called Feel Me Flow was on there. Here we go now, let me hear me yo. So that won a Grammy for us, our third album on Tommy Boy. And hey, that was like winning the Super Bowl of music.
Well, the American Music Award is nice, but the Grammy.
Yeah,
the
that's
Grammy,
the Super Bowl.
and that was a new category. We
Yeah,
talked
yeah.
about. You were the first
rap
to
group
win
a Grammy. Yep.
the rap album.
Yep.
Yes, which
Wow.
is amazing. Amazing.
So can you just give us you're standing up there going, like, what's the feeling? What's it like being up there?
Yeah,
in
well,
that
the
moment?
thing was, back then, the Grammys, they never aired the rap categories.
Oh, I
you know?
remember that.
So all of that was off camera, and it was big controversy. But I remember we were going to the Grammys, the ceremony, and once we finished the red carpet, they came up and was like, "You guys won for Best Rap Group." But the show didn't even start. So,
Wow.
we knew it would be off camera. So I just remember going into the auditorium and yelling, "Ah! We won a Grammy!" And then we just left and kept doing press.
You're like,
you
I'm
know?
not sitting.
Right.
yeah.
I'm
I
not
don't get
sitting
to go
through
up
it.
there. Forget it.
We're going to do press and
That's
talk
just-
about
that
it.
makes me angry.
That's annoying, but congrats. That's cool.
yes,
Thank
that
you,
is
thank
very
you.
cool.
So that's like 96, right? So, right? 96?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so 96-ish. So, and then, like, I mean, yeah, take us, like, bridge the gap to today. I mean, talk about maybe just some of the, the ups and downs of it, maintaining.
Yeah. Well,
fame.
and again, some of the ups and downs is that, hey, we've been blessed. We were street kids. We were former Burger King vets, and we had all this success. But with this success, plus being brothers, the three of us, and spending all this time together. Of course, once you have that success, KG is our main producer, so he started producing other artists. Tretch got into acting, so, along with Queen Latifah, they would send him out on acting gigs, and I kind of anchored the business part and the fan relations, so I ended up opening a retail store, Naughty Gear, and, we were some of the...
This from the guy who didn't want customer service.
Right.
Look at how you grew.
Right. So, we were the first to really heavily brand ourselves and our merchandise and take it from just tour apparel to really like apparel, fashion apparel. So we did that, and next thing you know, everyone's energy is going 3 different places.
Sure.
So then you have the record label like, when are these guys going to get back in the studio? And then things happen, and friends are saying, hey, you don't need him, and you don't need him, and you don't need him. And people kind of pull and tug at you, and it caused the group to implode, know? And we went through rough patches, but eventually we stayed the course. And again, with the support of family and friends and Queen Latifah and Shakim, we've been able to maintain and keep things together. And hey, you stay the course, beautiful things happen. And fast forward to today, it's like we'll be celebrating our 29th year in the industry this year. And we're about to knock out a 57-city arena tour with the likes of New Kids on the Block, Salt and Pepper, Tiffany and Debbie Gibson.
I'm loving this so much.
Not only are we considered like hip-hop legends, but we're considered pop icons as well, I guess.
Is that weird?
Yeah.
Is that a weird
Well,
thing?
how different is touring going to be on this leg versus when you were...
I know. So, when we first started, of course, there were a lot of street kids, a lot of urban kids, and then we started doing a lot of MTV Spring Break, so that crossed us over, and through the years, we've had a great crossover crowd. So this is going to be interesting because we're touring with one of the biggest boy bands in the world, New Kids on the Block. So their demographic is like 100% women.
It's me. You're going to see women like me.
We're going out here, middle America's soccer moms.
I do the right stuff dance, like you guys don't. You're like,
you're going to see some. Yeah, but what's really going to be interesting is when Salt and Pepper play "Push It" and all the women my age start getting all like sexified.
I love that song. My dad introduced me. That's what I'm talking about.
We used to do cheerleading routines to Push It.
I know,
in the day.
and it hadn't dawned on me until we launched the tour at the Today Show. So we were all in, Naughty, Salt and Pepper, New Kids, and then we were taking pictures together. And I looked at one of the pictures, the finished pictures they sent me, and I'm like, Mama, I never thought I'd grow up to be a pop star.
It's wild.
I mean,
that's what I'm saying. You want to be an artist. You want to be a musician. However, you're a rap star, a hip hop artist. But then you become an icon. I mean, it's got to be. How do you push through that when it comes to not getting in your head?
I think all of our blessings have been the fact that we've always been hands-on with everything we've done. No one put us together. No one came and found us. We assembled organically. We had the vision organically, and we built this with our hands. So I like the movie, the Will Smith movie, The Pursuit of Happiness.
Yeah.
So for us, we're not counting the pegs as we go along. We're putting on the blinders and putting in the work. And if you stop paying attention to the accolades or the accomplishments, you're just putting on the blinders, putting in the work, and the results are really behind you. Next thing you know, you're like, wait a minute, all this stuff happened?
That's what Matt said. Yeah. I mean, you put your head down, you're following your passion and stuff.
You actually said that to me in the middle of the JPP thing. I started being like, well, what are we going to do about this? And you were like, just keep doing what we're doing, like push your head down, go out there, perform. If somebody wants you to perform on something, do it. And it's like, I say it now. I say it now to young comics who want to get into it. I'm like, you just stop talking. Just get out there, get out every night, get on stage, write and perform, and stop being like, I got this. No, I'm going to do this big audition. No, just get out there and write and perform. Work. It's a business. I want to talk about the business a little bit because you really do a lot of business. I've seen you do it from social media posting, the T-shirts, the artwork, the stores. Where'd you get that from? Did you take schooling on that? Is that a natural gift?
No, it's probably organic from the streets when we were street kids, you know?
Yeah.
And even prior to that, I mean, I remember in high school, right? I've always been an entrepreneur. So back in high school, and I know this is a family show perhaps, but...
No, it's not.
No,
it's
it's
called
not.
Jobs Blow.
Right.
It's okay.
So I remember we were street kids, and I remember my sister and I used to be the stash spot for the local drug dealers. And I remember we used to hold his weed stash, so I would pinch off and roll a bunch of joints. So I remember going to high school, selling kids the joints, but I would also stop at the wholesale candy place and buy M&Ms and lollipops. So I remember selling the kids the weed, and then when they catch the munchies, they would come looking for
that's
me to get the
hilarious.
snacks.
You hit him up twice.
Wow.
I hit them up twice.
That's so funny.
And I never realized it until I was doing so well selling the snacks that other kids began selling snacks, and the school shut it down because there were too many kids selling snacks.
Yeah.
You
That's
know?
So you officially got snack selling to be an illegal entrepreneurial venture. Good for you. That's
Exactly.
amazing.
You know, so
But that's cool, though. That's right?
I've
Self-taught.
always had that in me, and then from being on the streets, and then when we blew up, you know, with OPP, we had the OPP T-shirt. So we literally had people come from North Carolina, upstate New York, Virginia, come on our block just to buy a T-shirt from us.
Well, your band, your group name, Naughty by Nature, and then your music, OPP, they're like merchandisable. Like you
Right.
came up with things that if someone puts a shirt that says Naughty by Nature, it implies they're naughty by nature.
Right, right.
You were just really brilliant with your merchandising.
Honest answer. How much of that kind of the overall thought process went into that? Like, for example, were you said before, like, oh, Naughty by Nature sounded like a cool name, but you know, things like OPP, even the choruses and things like that.
Right.
How much went into like, oh, this is gonna be something that people can go crazy for, or was it just like, this is just what we want to put out?
Well, it was sort of like we knew we grew up with crowd participation and fan engagement. So again, from the Tough Teen Talent competitions and our routines, we knew we had to engage the fans. We knew we had to be interactive. So we've always sort of carried that engagement and interaction.
In the back of your head, kind of.
Yeah.
Thing. Not to get too white boy on anything, but like, you know, if you see the Bohemian Rhapsody movie, you know, they just talked about how like things like We Will Rock You were intentionally done to engage the audience.
Right,
You know?
Yeah.
right.
Again, you go to see Bruce Springsteen play in concert, he makes it like he's your best friend, even though he doesn't know anybody there.
Right.
There is just something to be said for creating that party atmosphere with an artist that you're going to see.
Hey, all inclusive.
Yes. All right. We could sit here and talk.
Oh,
to
we're
him.
going to. I have more questions. No. 1 second. I have to interrupt. So I have a question. So I forgot my question. So, wait. I do have a question. So when it comes now to this, these tours, the tour that you're doing now with the 90 stars, did you know them back in the day?
Yes, we did. We knew New Kids on the Block. Back then, when Marky Mark used to tour with them, he was doing his rap thing.
Right.
We've always known them.
And Donnie, you're good friends
Yeah,
with, right?
and we're great friends with Donnie. He called when they struck the band back up in 2008. They did Radio City Music Hall in 2010. So he reached out to us because they had a song with Hey Ho in the chorus. He wanted to surprise his fan base and like, I'm going to bring Naughty out here. So when we do our song with Hey Ho in the chorus, we're going to break out of it and introduce Naughty by Nature. And they're going to come out and play Hip Hop Hooray. So
And minds
once we agreed to
explode.
come out, the marketer and me told my guys, my screen printing guys, you know what? Combine both of our logos. Use our Naughty and our Naughty font and their Kids on the Block. Make a T-shirt, Naughty Kids on the Block. So we showed up at Radio City Music Hall with a grip of Naughty Kids on the Block tees, and Donnie and New Kids were like, Oh my goodness! And we've basically been working on making that a super group ever since.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
And the audience now is all grown up with you. They're in their late 30s, 40s, early 50s, and they're the people now. They can come out and they get it again. It's like you were a kid, you enjoyed it, and now it's just I find it very interesting and inspiring to keep finding new ways to reinvent yourself.
Well, and honestly, when you think about popular musicians that we grew up with, I mean, Whitney, George Michael Jackson. I mean, the fact that you are still kicking and making, touring together, there's a lot to be said.
Yes,
Either people have broken up and gone their separate ways or worse.
Yeah,
so,
the older I get, the more blessed I realize I am.
You really are. Okay, we have some rapid fire questions that we want to ask you.
Okay.
I know everyone's probably really enjoying our conversation. I know I am, but we know people have attention span issues these days.
They do.
So I'll start with the first one, Josh. You want to just go every other?
All right, we could do that. Yeah, I want to throw some others in there too.
Okay, so if you renamed your group today, what would you call yourselves?
Illtown Sluggers.
That's a good answer.
He's obviously thought about that.
That's great. You could say yes or no or elaborate, but is hip hop a young person's game?
No, it's not. Hip hop is old, so people in their 50s and 60s actually not only still love it, but they still participate in it. Like Cool DJ Red Alert, he's like 60 years old right now. Ice-T is 59 or 60 years old now. You know?
There's still, and I feel like there is, but do you feel like there's still a need for their voice and their, stories to be told?
Absolutely, and
yours?
There's an audience for them. So there's a more mature adult hip hop. Then you have commercial hip hop, you have your conscious hip hop, you have your gangster hip hop, and you have what the kids are doing now. They consider it mumble rap or trap music. It's just expanding like the universe.
You like what the kids are doing?
Yeah, I mean, there's always been good and bad music out there. Whack MCs, sucker DJs, So it's the same. The same applies today. I really love Drake. He makes a lot of great music. Meek Mill, he makes great music. Yeah. Some of the younger kids, I like some of the Soulja Boy stuff.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff I don't like. But I'm cautious to not cannibalize the culture.
Sure.
So since you just named a bunch of people, who is your favorite artist today?
My favorite artist today, I would have to say overall, is Drake.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay. We talked about it a little quick, but was there a specific moment when you realized I made it?
Yes, the American Music Award.
That was
for the first album.
Wow.
How old were you?
21, 22 back then.
Amazing.
Okay, so what was your biggest achievement?
Biggest achievement was the Grammy Awards, but one of the most fulfilling was we played the Special Olympics for Maria Shriver and Arnold Schwarzenegger. That was in Connecticut. It was like 70,000 people out there.
Wow. Why didn't you play my bar mitzvah?
Okay.
No, forget it. All right. What did fame teach you?
Fame taught me how humble and blessed I am. Fame taught me that no matter what's going on in the world and people are pitted against each other, whether it's race or creed, color, or religion, fame has taught me that people are beautiful inside and out. The rest are distractions.
Got it.
I love that. If you could have written or performed any other famous rap song, which one would it be?
While you're thinking about that, because specifically the last concert I went to of yours in Chicago, where you had your music, but you were like sampling these other songs.
Oh yeah, mixing it up.
Oh man, and just what he talked about before about putting the party scene together. When we were in Giant Stadium and you were crafting what was going to be performed that day at the stadium, I saw you guys, like you, Tretch, over the computer. No one do this, and then you got up and you're like, no one put this one. It was like this whole. Sorry, I'm screaming. It was this whole collaboration, like you were just putting a party together, a party playlist together. But yeah, I mean, you do other, you do obviously know a lot of these other songs. What's a song you would have loved to have performed?
You know what? I have to say I have it, and we recorded it. I consider Hip Hop Hooray like the official hip hop anthem. I think it sums it all up. It's all inclusive. So I'm glad we made that song.
Word up.
I wish I had written that song.
I'm not parodying that song. It's too hard. All right. If you could perform with anyone living or dead, who would it be?
Oh wow, that would be Michael Jackson.
Okay.
Even with
Absolutely.
everything in the news right now?
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough, but you take the personal away, and you're talking talent and music and musicianship.
No, we had this
Well,
conversation.
we in the show that I'm in, Drunk Shakespeare, we do there's a song that we use at the end of the show, and we were going back and forth, going, do we take it out? Do we do something else? And we're like, you know what? It's still up for debate, but the song is so iconic and it's so good and people like it. It's like, it's still
Right.
great.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because a lot of people, you grew up with it.
Right.
There are times in your life where you hear one of those songs and you're like, oh my. I mean, I was fanatical about Michael Jackson. I would be in my room playing Thriller with my white glove on.
Right.
I wrote him fan letters.
Right.
So,
Do you have an outfit piece that she can wear now? Like, is there a shoe or a sock that you can wear when you're listening to like OPP now? No?
No. Okay, wait. And then finally, what is the most surprising thing about yourself that your fans don't know?
Or interesting.
Or
Or
yeah.
weird. He is thinking.
That I'm a virgin.
I said that before. No, I'm kidding. That's crazy.
No, that's not the
Good
truth.
rapid fire, Don.
You were not a virgin at your Tough Teen Talent contest.
No.
Yeah, that was the hotbed right there.
Not Mr. OPP, man.
No, not Mr. selling weed and candy. You were making things happen at a young age.
So, couple more. What if there's one thing that you could say to aspiring artists or dreamers out there? How you keep them going? How you get them started? What would you say to people out there?
I would say be honest and passionate about what you're doing. If you're chasing a check, then go get a job and you'll get a guaranteed check. But if you're chasing what you're passionate about and you want to be creative about it, do that and take the money out of it. And I know that people have financial goals, but if you're doing it strictly for that, 9 times out of 10 you're gonna fail.
No, you should have just done it before you turned 40. Like
And I would say the way you avoid that is, hey, try to keep at least a part-time job so you could pay your immediate bills,
Right.
and then use your spare time to pursue your passion.
I love that. That's it. That's kind of the point of all this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, the annoying HR question. I'm not sure if you've ever been asked this if on a proper job interview, but where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Where do I see myself in 5 years?
Or the group?
Well, me personally, I have to get married and start a family. I'm 48 years old already.
You are?
Yeah.
You look like you're like 30.
Well, thanks.
So the only reason I figured that is because of the dates we've been throwing around. But
he
yes,
does.
Yeah.
Look at the video. Look at that face.
I'm time stamped. 80s babies.
So you want to get married, settle down?
Yes, I have to. I have to get on with life. I think that's in my personal life, that's one of the sacrifices. So when I came up, my mom passed in 88, and my sister had twin girls at the time who were 2 years old. She had them in 86. Our mom passed in 88, and my sister and I raised the twins. And then in 91, she had a third girl. So I moved them all with me in a 5-bedroom colonial in Jersey, and I raised the girls. So it was kind of hard dating other women because they would come home, and there's a house full of women there. And
Are you like father to them? I mean,
yeah, basically put them through college and everything. So
that's really great.
that was one of the sacrifices. But now, I have my girlfriend now. And
Sure. What's her name? Can we know?
Dominique.
Hi, Dominique.
Yeah. So we're working on that.
Was that hard being young, raising, helping out, but raising 2 little kids?
It's basically all I've ever known, because I'm the youngest of 7, so I have 5 sisters and 1 brother.
Oh, wow.
And I've been an uncle since I was 5 years old. So my entire life, I'm used to changing diapers and taking care of kids. That's why I know I'm going to be the world's greatest dad.
I love it.
I love that too. And we have to say, because that's the one thing we do have, is that we're both parents.
Right.
And
No,
it is
I don't
the
have
most
do you have a Grammy?
amazing-
I don't have a Grammy. You don't have a Grammy.
I'm just saying,
Right.
we are parents, so we have one thing over him.
You want to come over and hang out with my little guy while I take a nap?
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
All right.
Do you have any social handles you want to?
Yes, I'm on Instagram at Uncle Vin Rock. Facebook is Vinny Brown. You can look me up, or Vin Rock 118. And basically, besides the personal ones, everything is Naughty by Nature. So naughtybynature.com, and then you'll see all of our socials.
And then it's like Naughty by Nature Forever on IG,
Yeah.
and Instagram.
And also, when is the MLB stuff happening?
That's happening now. That's being executed as we
So look
speak.
for it.
Yep.
You
Look
know what,
for it.
MLB?
Yeah, you know me. It'll be available in baseball stadiums on fanatics.com, and we'll have pieces out there.
Wait, so this
throughout
will
the
happen
tour.
because baseball starts in
Soon.
April, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it'll be there in
It's
April.
happening
Okay,
right now.
all right.
And what about the tour? When is that
So the
coming
tour
by?
starts May 2nd, 57 cities. Visit naughtybynature.com. You'll be able to find and buy your tickets there, as well as the VIP Slugger Lounge upgrade meet and greet experience.
Well, can Josh and I get in on that?
I've been backstage one time. Actually, real quick, funny story. He gave me backstage tickets to Chicago, and I didn't realize it was on stage tickets. So he gave me tickets. I'm in my hat. I'm wearing a hoodie. I get on stage, just like all these people going nuts, and I just went, fuck it. And I went out there, and I was in the front of the stage, and I was like, oh, baby, man.
Oh, my God. All right. Okay.
All right, so my socials are Mr. Josh Hyman, MrJoshHyman.com, on Facebook, on Instagram. And this is finally the week that Brianna has agreed to tell us her social media handles, which are...
Jobs Below Podcast.
I thought I was going to get it this time.
At Jobs Below Podcast.
Nothing. Please do not forget to give us a like, a subscribe, a share, and the reviews. Please give us a review, good or bad, indifferent, even if your dog is just walking on the keyboard. We just need the reviews. It really helps us get up on those directories and get the word out.
Share the show.
Share the
this
show.
episode. It was amazing.
Share
and share alike. Teamwork makes the dream work. Vinny, you are the man.
Yes,
we so
thank
appreciate
you so much.
Thank
It's been so much
Thank
fun.
you.
Thanks. Okay, guys. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Get out with JPP. Yeah, you know me. Get out with JPP. Yeah, you know me. Get out with